The idea was to make a series of vlogs or vlogs, I'm not sure. Well, vlogs probably. Called Old Man Yells at Cloud. I am old. I am a man. Don't yell much though. But I do like to complain about completely inconsequential things that will not change just because I complain about them. So I figure it's a vlog for no one about nothing of any real interest. So I'm on my way to buy vape supplies. I am at the Jungfernheide station. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit embarrassed about doing this in public because it just kind of looks, I don't know that if it's narcissistic or what. I think using a selfie stick would be even worse, but then it gets really weird when I'm holding out the phone with my hand. I don't know. I'll think about it. What I was going to complain about was the trailer for the Borderlands movie, because I love Borderlands, in case you don't know. I've played all 4 of the games. Yes, there are 4 of them, even though they're numbered 1, 2, and 3. There's also, between 2 and 3, there's the pre-sequel. And I've probably played each one of them. I'm not joking when I say a dozen times through. I don't even usually finish games. But I finished those games over and over. Played as different characters several times. Maybe not 3 so much. The writing on 3 was so-and-so. So-and-so? Was so-so. But anyway, my point being that the trailer doesn't look promising. Then again, I didn't think it would be. Casting Kevin Hart, who I'm not a big fan of to begin with, as Roland, not necessarily the best choice. And he delivers a line in the trailer early on that I could not decipher. I had to turn on the closed captions to see what it was. And I'm curious if anybody else feels the same way. I could never decipher it. I had to turn on captions, or rather my wife turned on the captions on when she watched it, and she told me. But yeah, not expecting much, and I probably won't get much either. But it does hint at, I mean, the smart thing to do, whether the movie tanks or not, is to announce Borderlands 4 then soon, which would be nice. I don't know how long it's been since Borderlands 3, but it's been a couple years. I mean, there was 7 years between 2 and 3, so. But I still think the time is ripe for, or yeah, I am gonna have to get a selfie stick because my arm is genuinely, I wouldn't say hurting, but it's getting tired. So, whew. Okay, so I did buy myself a cheap selfie stick. I still haven't unpacked it, and there's something about, I mean, this is bad enough walking around like this, holding a camera and talking to it. But selfie stick, I don't know. But, you know, honestly, should I care what people think? I mean, look at me. Can you see my pants? You can't see my pants. Anyway, I mean, as of a couple of years ago, my sartorial aim has always been to look ridiculous. So, am I going to look any more ridiculous with a selfie stick? Yeah, probably. But you know what? That's fine. So one of the things I've always been concerned with, which is why I don't want that angle, is my nostrils are pretty big. I know it's one of those things nobody else notices, but as I've gotten older, of course, I also have more hairs growing out of them, and now you can't see anything else, I'm sure. So that's why I need a selfie stick. Either that or I need to work out my right arm a lot. It's fully in line with the German linguistic pragmatism to name a house at Mierendorfplatz Haus am Mierendorfplatz, which means the house at Mierendorfplatz. And when I talk about German linguistic pragmatism, I mean the fact that Santa Claus is call the Christmas Man. The bus is currently diverted, so it's on a cobblestone road, as you see. Very comfortable. But, oh, it doesn't mean you can see where the cops keep all their vans. The vans that go by my house several times a day with sirens blaring. So there's that. And there's also 2 hospitals in the area. So my home is sirens aplenty. Oh, time to get off. I decided to walk home from the divert bus stop. Also get a bit of exercise, but just to test the selfie stick. This is the selfie stick at full extension. I have no idea how shaky it is though, but I still think this works. I can only really see myself out of the corner of my eye because I'm looking at the camera, which I think is a good idea. I don't know how shaky it's going to be, but I can probably fix that in Premiere when I'm editing it, although I have no clue how hard that is. Or it's probably super easy. Most of these things are pretty easy today. I was originally going to turn this into a podcast. Not me walking around, obviously, but old man yells at cloud and complaining about shit. But it turns out that just editing something together, video, and then posting that to YouTube is a whole lot easier than the process that is involved when posting a podcast. Plus, you need some sort of hosting provider. When we did podcasts, I say if it's plural, it is not plural. It is, we had a podcast called Sparkle Town, the Berlin Drag podcast. You need to buy a subscription, pay a monthly fee basically, which I am not interested in doing. Plus, I remember the process being, it's not a one-step process, you know? Whereas on uploading to YouTube, pretty much is. And I think being on YouTube is probably not a great idea if you want to monetize what you're doing, but that's not my goal here. This is mostly for myself, just to create something and maybe give friends and family an idea of what my life is like, what kind of hats I'm wearing. This is my red biking hat, which is very similar to the Paul Smith hat that I bought when I first visited Berlin many moons ago, 10, 11 years ago, which unfortunately, I still have it, but unfortunately it's so worn and it looks so shabby that it needs to be replaced. But it's really, really hard to find a small hat with a small brim. I've been wearing my hat at an angle this entire time. Oh well. But yeah, now sometimes I wear it like this because it's a bike hat, and that's kind of what they're meant to be worn like. How they're meant to be worn. Because it's a bike hat, and that's kind of how they're meant to be worn. So yeah. And I may just do this may be the only one I do. I have this tendency to have these grandiose plans, and I'm like, oh, I'll start this, and then I very easily give up. Because I also have the sense that unless something gets traction early, if traction is what you're looking for, it's probably not going to take off later. I have an acquaintance who does YouTube videos, and they've been doing this for like 3 years, maybe 4 years, and they're consistently getting 100 views, and they keep doing it, and good for them. I don't think I could do that if my goal at least was to reach other people. This is just for friends and family. If anybody else watches this, that's great. I need to think about that. Is that great? I think it is, probably. I think it probably doesn't really matter. If somebody else watches this, then they're watching it, and that's fine. The one thing that I kind of did follow through on is I did do a music podcast on, what's that called? Mixcloud. Because on Mixcloud, you don't need to have the rights to the music that you play, as long as you list it in the show notes with times, and they cover the payments. And I did that for 2 times 6 months, so a total of a weekly, so a total of 52 episodes. So I can have the staying power if I'm interested. It was a lot of fun to make, but also, again, a lot of work, and nobody uses Mixcloud. So, I mean, DJs do, I think, but people don't go to Mixcloud for podcast content, I don't think. Maybe they do. Either way, nobody was interested. Well, 10 to 12 people were, and that's fine, but it was a little bit too much work for that. If you want to check that out, you're welcome to. I'd love to just leave it at that and not tell you what it was called or where it actually is. But no, Mixcloud, it's called Unquiet. And I think the first 26 episodes are called Unquiet, and the second run is called Unquiet Times. And the concept of it was that if you listen to music that's all of the same genre, it kind of blends together. If you're at a club somewhere and they're playing soul music all night, you're going to be hard pressed to remember the individual songs. But if they contrast with one another, then you'll be more likely to pay attention to the songs. So that was the goal, was to be as contrasting as possible. And I think I did a pretty good job of that. And there's some interesting music on there. And I didn't repeat much as far as artists go, etc. So feel free to check that out. And here I am walking with a selfie stick, and not entirely unself-conscious, but a little bit, I don't give a fuck, because, who cares? Like I said, I already dress ridiculously enough. Like, check out my Buddha t-shirt. There he is. I'm approaching my house. I'm gonna go inside, get this footage off the camera, see if it can be edited into something, and if it can, then that's what you're watching right now. Until Old Man Yells at Cloud comes back, if it ever comes back. Like I said, this may just be a one-shot. This may just turn out to be, oh, that was a fun thing to try. I can't be bothered to make any more. Because, wouldn't be the first time. Being ADHD, or as I like to call it, addict. I don't know that I am. I'm not diagnosed, but a lot of stuff that I read about ADHD people who are diagnosed, it's like, yeah, I recognize that. But, I'm old enough to have managed to create enough coping mechanisms that I don't think I need more help with it. All right, I'm home now. Until next time, if there is a next time.